All right, we're here with the Senior Ford Master Tones, 4-time NHRDA Pro Street Champion, World Champion, quickest 6.0 Powerstroke in the world, and currently holder of the Pro Street ET record, Master Tones. So getting ready to go to the NHRDA Worlds to compete. We're pretty nervous, pretty excited that we finally got that 60 foot down.
Yeah.
Really excited to go there and lay down some serious numbers.
Everything went good there. I think our best 60 foot was a 122.
Yeah, we had a bunch of 122, 23s, 124. I mean, basically running 120s all day long, except when you deep staged against Philip.
Yeah.
It was like a 131.
Yeah.
But you know, the deep stage will affect that.
Yeah, and I had to deep stage against him. There's no way in hell a foot brake's beating a trains brake off the light. So I did everything I could to get out in front of him, and it worked.
Franklin bumps in 7 inches later. 3 stages are on. Deep stage for the halter. Topside, wind light, goes on for Foster. Foster Evans.
I mean, right off the trailer, we set the Pro Street ET record, which we had to back up.
Yep.
Which Dan went a little faster, but then broke, and he wasn't able to back it up, so it didn't count. So we set the record, and then backed it up, and then E1 we had Scotty Bergeson.
Yep.
Which, you know, he was having a little trouble getting his turbo up, so we talked beforehand and then let him know, you know, hang out at the tree, but don't want to burn the trans down.
Yeah, I got into the first bulb and told him I'd give him some time. I wouldn't give him all day, and God, it felt like I sat there for about 5 minutes. It was probably 15, 20
Just watching
seconds.
that trans cook.
Yeah, it started moving up above 120. I was like, okay, I can't wait anymore, and you know, pulled into the second bulbs, and you know, luckily I wasn't holding it real hard. It was just sitting there, you know, 1400 degrees on EGTs, something like that, just enough to get it spooled fast once he got in, but unfortunately he never got in. So, but yeah, that's the one we backed up our pass on, ran a 513.0. That apparently I backed out of it at some point.
Yeah, in the data log it says you backed out at like 440.
Yeah, I don't know what I did, but I backed out of it, got back in it. So it probably would have been a little faster, but I don't know how much we lost in the quarter second. I backed out of it and got back in.
Yeah,
so.
you know, every little bit counts when that's all you got to work with.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, unfortunately we couldn't, you know, sit there all day waiting for him to get up and get on the turbo, and gave him as much time as we could before I bumped in. So.
Yeah, Scotty's a good guy. We were hanging out in the pits talking, you know. That's one of the cool things about racing, at least for most of my experiences. Everyone's super cool. Yeah. I mean, we were hanging out with everyone else in the class. You know, they'd help us, we'd help them. We were offering advice. John was offering us a little bit of advice on our 60 foot. He saw our
huge help.
Tires were dead hooking, gave us a little advice. We were giving advice on nitrous, and Philip and I were looking over at data logs together. It was super cool.
We offered our converter to Dan.
Yeah, Dan ended up breaking,
but
the converter.
Unfortunately, he didn't have enough time to get it in, so that was unfortunate. We'd really like to race him, make it a real tight race.
Yeah, we were real nervous about going up against Dan. I mean, we were doing 133 in the 134 in the 8th, and he's doing 150s in the 8th. That's fast. And then we went up against Philip.
Yeah.
We're real nervous about that. He's got 500 to 600 horsepower on us. I mean, he was joking around that he's got a little knob, and he's like, yeah, to beat you guys, I'll probably have to turn it up like a click or two, but I've got 3 more, and the scramble button with 300 horsepower, so we knew if we were going to beat him, it'd have to be on the tree.
Yep, I had to get him on the tree. Unfortunately, he broke his tranny, so.
You did catch him sleeping. Now, he had a problem, we found out. We didn't know what was going on, but as we pulled to the line, we saw his door open. And they started to flag you to shut you down, but then they said it was fine and his door shut, and I guess his truck had shut off.
Yeah. And
I think maybe rattled him a little bit. I mean, right before the bulb. He was inches before getting into the first bulb, and his truck shut off, but he restarted it and got in.
Yeah, I halfway saw them coming up, and I just thought it was because I was kind of sitting there before the first light, like they do at Friday Night Drags. Hey, you need to come up more.
Yeah.
And then they backed off. It's like, okay, well, we'll get into the first light. I guess if he's taking his time over there, we'll at least get into the first bulb.
And you caught him sleeping at the tree. At least that's what it looked like. You just, I mean, you 60-footed and RT'd the crap out of him, and then you could just see him coming for you.
Yeah.
And then you see a little puff of smoke come out, and I think he said his band let go in the trans.
Yeah, second gear band let go. which is unfortunate.
And we were supposed to go up against John
Yeah,
in the finals, but he ended up breaking.
Yeah, he broke his cam on his buy run, right for his semifinal buy run.
So all the Cummins and Duramax broke, and the 6.0 Powerstroke had a single buy run for the win, right?
Yep.
I mean, talk about how far we've come in the 6.0 Powerstroke world to be racing in Pro Street and going fast, and the only one left standing at the end. I mean, that's.
Yeah.
I mean, typically the Cummins guys just destroy it, but we're catching up. We've been working hard, pushing hard.
Yep. Yeah, truck didn't skip a beat the whole time. So,
Drove right back on the trailer.
well, except for whatever happened on our final pass, we don't know if it was tranny or just the rev limiter was too low. But
Yeah, I looked at the log. It's definitely pushing a little harder. We didn't bump up the rev limiter, but bumped up the horsepower, and it kind of sputtered for a second as it pushed off the rev limiter.
But yeah, so yeah, I think without that, it would have been a quicker pass.
I mean, we've been 512s, and the engine and trans and everything is just working great. It ships great. The data looks good. I mean, we're making, not to get too much into data, but about 100 pounds of boost, 100 pounds of back pressure per design. We've got 3 gates on it to try to keep those numbers low, and we use nitrous to make up the rest. I mean, but we're just out of fuel at this point. We talked to Jesse Warren. We're going to get some bigger injectors out. We're only running like 1350 to 1450 EGTs. And AFR is off the charts. The numbers don't even make sense. I don't know if our gauge is calibrated wrong. It's an Innovate gauge. I've heard you can't go over maybe 28 to 30 to 1, but we started at 28 to 1, and we were at like 2,000 degrees EGTs, and then we just kept adding more nitrous and adding more and adding more. And we worked our way from 28 all the way to 50, just wait and see what happens, and went faster, made more power, cooler EGTs, engine lives longer.
Yeah.
But we're just out of fuel. We turned it all the way up, and I mean, if you look at a video of it going down the track, it looks like a stock truck. I mean, the launch, you see a little bit of smoke, but once it launches, if you look at it from the stand, you would think it was a stock injector truck. Say we run like, 7, 8, 9, we've done as much as 10 pounds per pass.
We're gonna put mother bottles on it, run all the nitrous.
I've talked to a few guys that say you gotta run dual bottles at a certain point just to keep the pressures up. So we sure have learned a lot this year, a lot about nitrous, a lot about tuning.
Yeah, a lot about
launch.
suspension.
Yeah, a lot about suspension. Let me tell you, the suspension goes a lot farther than power. Most people, when they're building a truck, that's the whole plan, is like power, turbo, injectors, tuning, throw all the power at it. But most of our improvements, our big improvements, have come from learning to launch the truck, 4-link adjustments, what to do at different tracks, tire pressures, tires, shocks, shock settings. It all comes together. But man, learning that stuff first and adding power later is way better than just throwing all the power at it and ice skating down the track and struggling and braking constantly. I constantly tell people that show up, man, I won't say names, but there was guys in the pits that, they had enough nitrous to go to the moon, but they've never even got a good 60 foot before. So we took a few steps back, I'm gonna say, this year, and just realized that we need to work on our launch, our suspension, and our 60 foot, and we'll figure out the power stuff later. I think that's a little easier, but the launch, the 60 foot, make sure you're making it all the way to the 330 before turning all the power at it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I even commented to you this weekend, who'd have thought that just going fast and straight line took so much thinking.
When you get to that power level, I mean, when we were running 590s, it was nothing, it was very easy. We did that on Lucky all day long, and Lucky was leaf sprung in the back, stock suspension up front, some just standard double adjustable QA1s, and you could run 590s all day long. But to go from 590s to low 5s, it's a big jump. And you can't just throw the power at that point, you'll just start spinning your tires down the track. You've got to get your suspension dialed in.
Yeah, it's a lot different than going 10, 11 seconds in a quarter in, a street pickup too, so.
I mean, we haven't held out a quarter-mile pass, but it looks like we'd be low 8s, high 7s maybe.
Those probably, yeah.
I mean, you just coasted through the quarter mile, like 860s at like 105 miles an hour on the brakes.
Yep. If we held it out, you won't let me because it'll probably send a rod out of it. But
well, next time we go, we'll do it. We'll see what happens. We'll send a rod to the moon.
But
I mean, our goals, we'd like to be in the 4s by the end of the year. And then I think UCC or the NHRDA race in Phoenix next year might be one of the next events on our list. That, it gets pretty quiet in the wintertime. We're going to take it down. We've got big plans maybe for bigger engine, badder engine. Maybe we'll finally get that billet block, maybe a filled block. I mean, we're still running coolant in the block. We're just sleeved with coolant in the block, stock front cover, stock water pump.
Yeah.
So it's not as fancy of an engine as you might think. We do have plans for all that, but the R&D on that takes a while. Sometimes there's kinks to work out, but hopefully next year we're billet block, giant injectors, 2,000 horsepower, running in the fours. I mean, that's my goal. You know, one of my goals is I'd love to drive the truck someday.
Yeah.
Ever since I got knee surgery, Tony won't let me get in the driver's seat.
I am faster, so.
Technically, you're way faster now.
It is also a lot to be the tuner and the driver. Hell, it's damn near too much to be the mechanic and the driver.
We wear a lot of hats.
Yeah, so it's probably better that we did split it up so we're not as stressed. You're trying to figure out what to do with the truck physically as well as tuning it, and you know, I'm trying to make sure it ain't blowed up before we make another pass, and you know, it's a lot of stuff to do, so it is probably better we split it up. But you're a much better shooter than I am, and I'm a better driver, so you know, we'll just
honestly, it's one of my favorite parts is the tuning, the data log. I mean, I get like a giddy schoolgirl after a run that did really well because I want to go look at the data log and see what we changed and see what it looked like. I mean, I love that part. Tony's usually looking at the truck, setting up fans, wrenching, checking fluids. I'm usually on the laptop just like, ooh, yeah, look at this. You know, I have a hard time sleeping at night after races. We shared a hotel in Texas, and Tony passed out. He wasn't feeling good, but he does that anyways. And I was up late, just like little bright light on my bed, looking at the laptop, studying the data logs, going over. I mean, I do love that part. I love the data. You love the racing, so I guess it works out. I love the racing too, but I'm not as much as Tony. I'm not as good as the driver as Tony, as he likes to point out. Not as fast as Tony, but I do okay.
Yeah, you're not bad. I mean, one of us beat Denny though. Heads up, that was you.
I didn't get disqualified on that run. Nitrous bottle fell off. I'll never let that down. But all right, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe if you like seeing this kind of stuff. Comment down below. Make sure to subscribe. Share the video with your friends. You know, this is kind of a new thing for us. We're usually just instructional videos, but if you enjoy these types of videos, make sure that you share these with your friends. Tell them all to subscribe. Like, it goes a long way on our end. Hunter! Upstairs. Come on, chest bump. Chest bump. Come on, chest bump. Upstairs. Downstairs. I'm pretty sure it was Alex's idea, but Alex, Cameron, Jake, and Tyler, which, you know, we should put them on camera. You make sure to find them and make sure they're working. Should be over there building turbos, but they got some velvet ropes and those stands like you'd see at a movie premiere, and they put it outside his room with a custom sign just for, at that time it was the 3-time NHRDA champion, but now it says 4. So anytime we go travel, we make sure to like rope off his room, you know, put up the red velvet for him. You know, really, we're gonna get a red carpet for him to roll out. We're gonna start putting it outside the truck when he arrives at the hotel. I mean, this is gonna be famous. He may not have a TikTok or an Instagram or Facebook. He only does the old school forums, but you're gonna make you famous. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe if you like seeing this kind of stuff. Comment down below. Make sure to subscribe, share the video with your friends. You know, this is kind of a new thing for us. We're usually just instructional videos, but if you enjoy these types of videos, make sure that you share these with your friends. Tell them all to subscribe. Like, it goes a long way on our end.